Welcome to the Brave Healing Podcast. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to change the world one brave word at a time. And here to help me with that today are three of the author experts of one of our upcoming books, Wholehearted Wonder Women, 50 Plus, Courage, Confidence, and Creativity at Any Age. Please help me welcome Francoise Everett, Rivka Markel, and Julie Ulstrup to the show. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm so
Good to be
happy.
here.
I'm so happy to have you guys here today. I can't wait to have this conversation. So y'all, Francoise Everett is the founder of Elle Unleashed, where they support women to unleash their greatest potential for beautiful success in life and business. Rivka Markel is a clearing facilitator who will help you detach from past experiences using holistic tools. And Julie Ulstrup is the CEO at Julie Ulstrup Photography, where she elevates women to see the best in themselves while creating a powerful vision for their future through portrait experiences. And y'all know I have them hooked up in the show notes down below with their websites. So after you listen today, please go take it a step further and explore. And before we start, just a quick thank you to Lulu Trevina, the lead author of this amazing project. Without Lulu, we wouldn't be here, and she had such an amazing vision to bring 50 plus women together to share their wisdom. And all through the project, this has been a palpable energy for me. I don't know about you ladies, but I've really been feeling her vision, and it's been amazing. I'm very honored to be guiding this. And a quick thank you to you all, because you authors are amazing and awesome and badass. You said yes to this. Thank you for saying yes. You stepped up with your authentic stories, and then you took it one step further, and you're offering a tool that the reader can practice. And seriously, with you all being really master teachers in your fields, it's one thing to teach somebody who's sitting across from you, but it's quite another thing to put that in writing in a book so somebody has a practical experience. And you all did that so beautifully, so thank you. So first up, Francoise, tell us about this beautiful chapter that you wrote.
Thank you, Laura. It's so good to be here with you and with the other co-authors of this book. So I wrote chapter 13, and it's called Lead from Within. And it's about unleashing your intuitive superpower for confident, courageous success. And it's really about, I think in our stories, I haven't read all of them yet, but the breakdowns, right? And so I had been very externally guided and driven, and had been taking on, the chapter is really about taking on other people's points of views and giving your power over to thinking that everyone outside of you knows better than you do. And so a lot of the book is about, the story of how I finally just got to a place realizing that, like many of us, all of the answers are really coming from within, and beginning to really guide myself, leading myself from within, slowly, because in our society, everything in success and leadership is typically defined as from the outside in. And so I just made that shift of leading and creating success from the inside out. So it was just a 180 shift.
I remember hearing go within early on in my healing career. And I thought I got it until I got it, which was many, many years later, and you keep hearing that, and you keep feeling, I think, sometimes desperate to find the answers. So asking people outside of you and reaching out for help and thinking that all the answers are out there is a natural thing, I guess, to do. But do you remember when you realized like the power of what was within you?
I do. I had understood it intellectually, right? but I wasn't in the embodiment of it at all. Maybe I had touch points of that, but so the moment where I really realized it is when, after just not being able to roll over to reach for a glass of water because I was exhausted and I could not reach it. It was on my bedside table and I just fell asleep, very, very, very thirsty. The next morning when I got up, I just decided, like I had decided that I was going to slow down and start to take steps with quality, excellence, and mindfulness. And that was it. And whatever would be next would be revealed. And the very moment where I felt something really profound is I was standing at open French doors overlooking the town square. And I felt the sun on my face. And in that moment, I realized back and forth that like the sun beaming on me and me feeling the sun was like the same, like I was made of the same source substance. I was just manifesting in different forms. And that's where everything shifted for me internally.
Oh, I can feel that.
So beautiful. Wow.
I'm feeling the sun with you. Oh my gosh. Okay, you sped over something a second ago, so I'm backing you up a little bit.
Okay.
You said I decided on quality, excellence, and mindfulness. Can you just touch there for one more minute? That's really important.
Yeah, that is what really guides me actually, because I think that there's a lot of not mindfulness. There's a lot of mediocrity, and you get, there's, for me, it was just this understanding, like this seeing that I had been coming from a place of these things in my life, but then I lost track of them. I really did. I got on, following what experts say of taking massive action and like, just, you've got to do it. You've got to make it happen. And I had lost that connection. And so I realized that none of that was helping me to take massive action without being connected to quality and excellence and mindfulness. It was just a whole lot of doing, and I had lost myself in the process, right? There was no being of me there. And so it was really a return to myself and I yield better results. I yield more of what I want when I'm connected to that, mindfulness and quality and excellence. So these have just really become guiding principles for me.
Yes, Francoise, thank you very much. I'm coming back around to all of you in a few minutes to talk about awareness, and essentially that's what I'm thinking of when I'm listening to Francoise talk about this, because that foundational ability to notice first what's going on, right, and make changes from there. So I'm going to get back to you about that one, Francoise. Thank you. Rivka, talk to me about your beautiful chapter.
Also, I want to thank Lulu, of course, for giving us this opportunity, because it's an amazing journey. Because when you are asked to write a chapter, you have to think about stuff, and it helped me also to figure out so much more about myself. So I think it's like a beautiful dance between all of us so that we all can become better. So I wrote chapter 18, The Power of Saying No, How to Gracefully Get What You Want. It was something that was very, very in my life at the time that I was asked to write the chapter. And so my phrase is, it's not about saying no to others, it's about saying yes to yourself. And I really, really resonate a lot with what Francoise just said, because that's exactly the journey that I went through, maybe with a different wrapping paper, but it comes down to the same thing. So I really figured out, and my whole chapter is about that awareness, that the reason why I couldn't say no is because I was obsessed with getting it right all the time for everybody. Like if somebody would ask me something, I was the perfect person to ask it at, and I would just give the best results, and I could do much better than everybody else. And I was extremely proud of that. And so it was that feeling of that pride that gave me my fulfillment, and I didn't understand how addicted I was on that. Like I was addicted to the feeling of other people telling me how great I was. And doing so, I completely ignored if it was something I needed to do, yes or no. And so that's why I needed to figure out how was I going to cut that cycle. What were the things that I wanted and what were the things that I did for other people, and how that came into play and how I could figure that out. So my tool is about that. How do you figure out what you really want? Because at the end of the day, I lost myself so badly that I didn't even know what I liked for food anymore. I didn't, like, if somebody would say, let's choose a restaurant, I was always happy with whatever other people would choose, because I wanted them to be happy. I wanted them to have what they wanted. And in the process, I completely forgot what's the food that I like. So I had to rediscover all those things. And getting there is like very rewarding, and also something that I think you can do. You can best do when you're above 50. If somebody would have told me this when I was in my 40s, I would have said, what are you talking about? I'm just like creating and I'm working for everybody and I'm doing my job and this is what I'm supposed to do. I wouldn't even have listened. And so I had to get to this point, and that's the beauty of getting older, that you're hopefully get a little bit wiser and that you are able to go within and to see where you miss the ball.
I wrote something down from what you said. I was addicted to the feeling of other people telling me how great I was. And I remember a moment in my life and awareness that I had that I was actually addicted to something that was, other people might think was okay. And for me, it was an addiction to the feeling of exercise, which I know is an interesting one, right? Because people would say, well, that's fine, exercise is great for you. But when you're using something to numb yourself up, that's a problem.
Yes.
And that's, that moment when you realized, I think that was such a huge awareness and very brave of you to talk about it.
Well, I think that once I started, for other reasons, I started to understand and read a lot and study a lot about how we are conditioned as children, how our brain works, and what is our subconscious mind. Because people think that we are doing things because we want to do them, because we choose to do them. And that's what we would love to believe, that it is our own free choice. But I found out that that is totally not true. And that we give our power to our subconscious mind. Not that we want to do that, but it's just nature of the beast. This is how it goes. We are conditioned when we were children. And my mother conditioned me very well to do exactly what she wanted me to do. And that is what I took with me my whole life, like that conditioning. And I had to, that's why I became a clearing practitioner, because I truly believe that you cannot clear that with your conscious mind. You have to go much deeper, and you have to get rid of all that conditioning in order to even see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're not even aware. As much as you think you're aware, you're not. And that is very, that was in my face, because I thought I was I was in charge. I was in control of my life, but that was totally not true.
I love the, you're telling us, that we think we've reached a certain awareness, and really the truth is we're not. But I want to spin that positively for a minute, and thank you for talking about this. The positive spin is there's so much possibility for healing when you're open to what you don't know.
Exactly.
And at any stage or any age, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's what I love about that the most. Thank you, Rivka.
Yeah.
Julie, talk to me about your amazing chapter.
Thank you so much. Well, I was inspired also by Lulu's vision and Laura for all that you've put into this book. My chapter is chapter 9. Seeing is believing, believing is seeing. And my journey, really, it's funny, I've defined myself and introduced myself at different times in my life as a warrior of light, because I'm a photographer, and I've been a photographer really since I was a very little girl with a little Kodak camera. All of us can probably remember this because we are at least 50 plus. And I loved creating images and helping to see the world in a very specific way. And so my chapter is about that. It's about portraiture, and I didn't come into my now job, career, and business as a portrait photographer until I was over 50. And I think for me that there was a series of events that happened that really solidified that. Like I said, I was a photographer from a very young age. When I was in high school, I was also a photographer, and I took all the classes and learned about the dark room and the chemicals, things that people don't learn anymore. But there's a way of seeing things. And when we see ourselves in a specific way, it's like Francoise and Rivka talked about, we have this idea of who we are. And yet, Laura, like you said, there are other possibilities. We don't even know what we're not aware of yet. So that's a little bit about my chapter and a little bit about me as a portrait photographer and helping women specifically create a vision for our lives so all of us can live to our highest selves, whatever that is.
So I came across a book that I have actually had on my shelf for a really long time. It's called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, and it was recommended in a class I was taking. And what she said about this was, you just haven't seen it in this particular way yet. And I want you to talk a little bit more about that for a minute. Like, what is that magic in seeing something a different way? I have my own idea about what that magic is, but I want to hear yours.
Well, I could talk about this all day, so cut me off if you need to. And the thing that I work with, I used to work as a school counselor. And so I worked with a lot of children and families and that kind of thing. So I have this very deep and very rich background in working with people and their perceptions of themselves. Well, as a portrait photographer, I bet anybody who's listening, anybody who's on this podcast would agree that as women, we are conditioned to say, I don't even like to say the words, but women say lots of things about having a photograph taken, being photographed, that are absolutely not true. They're lies, they're false, they're crap. And my whole life purpose and vision is to change that for every single woman. Because if you can see yourself as whatever it is you want to be, a powerful businesswoman, a sensual goddess, whatever it is, a matriarch of a family, there are so many different roles that we have and so many different ways to be seen. And sometimes we have this very narrow vision. And to create a vision and a photograph where you can see yourself in a print somewhere in your home that it reminds you every single day of those parts of you that you've lost or forgotten, or that you think, oh, I could never be X, Y, or Z. It is powerful beyond belief.
Yes, with an exclamation point. Thank you for that. I'm just having a vision of some of the photos that I've had of myself over the years, and the best photographers did that for me. That's what they did for me. And they gave me something to look at that was the best me, the me that I wanted to be. Like, photographers, like, how do you do that? I love that so much. It's so amazing. Yes, everyone should have this. Men too.
Yes, absolutely.
And, kids, men, women, all of the people. I love it, Julie. Thank you so much. So I'm sticking with you, Julie, for a moment for this next one. And I can't wait to hear what you say about this, but what's the best thing about being 50 plus?
Oh my gosh, everything.
Okay, no fair, pick one.
It's the best part of my life so far. It really, really is. And I've had a great life up until now. I wouldn't say that I was living a bad life, but what I realized when I became 50 is this is time for me. This is time for me to shine and for me to really live my life purpose and to be open to receiving what the universe wants from me, or what the universe wants to give me, and also being open to shine my light, to share my vision, and to share the internal purpose of who I am without need for anybody else's approval, or this is the right thing to do, this is the safe thing to do, without anybody else putting me in a box of shoulding, without anybody shoulding on me. And I stopped shoulding on myself too. That's the best thing.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I would agree with you. You're making me think, was it a Dalai Lama quote about the Western woman is going to be the being that changes the world? I'm going to add it's the 50 plus Western woman. I think we need to create the new quote, right? Oh my gosh, yes. Francoise, how about you? What's the best thing about being 50 plus?
There's so much about it. I wouldn't trade it, actually. Like, I really have loved coming into my 50s. I mean, I'm still in my early 50s, but it's been just, there's this feeling, you just realize that it's your life and you sort of don't care anymore about what other people think, right? And for someone who really did care a lot, this is just liberation, right? It's total freedom. And it's not like you don't care at all, but there's like an attunement, like you just tuned in more. And like Julie said, like you're more on purpose, I think, and I feel much more receptive and curious about what's in store for me than when I was younger and I was just following a traditional path of like what success might look like. Now I get to really define it, right, from within, and I get to say what works for me and what doesn't, and I get to live by that, like just because it's so. I don't have to explain it or defend it or just nothing. Like there's a real sense of freedom, I think, about becoming who we are, and like a sense of coming home to yourself.
You're making me think of coming full circle to because I said so. Because that's what your mother was saying to you, and you're like, that's not good enough, but yes, it is. Oh, that's so funny. I'm going to have to write that one down too. I also wrote down being 50 plus is liberation. Thank you for that, Francoise. So true. Rivka, how about you? What are you going to add to this?
Well, I'm going to add something, I think, totally different. I don't know if you expect this, but for me, being over 50, the most beautiful thing is having grandchildren. And it just gives me so much joy and pleasure, and I can just watch them and smile all day long. And just because they are, and they have my genes, and you see that, and you're not aware of that when you're a mom, because you want to raise your children a certain way and you're busy doing that. And so grandchildren give you like a second chance. And it is the most precious, amazing feeling that I knew that I always wanted to be a grandmother, but I could never imagine what it would be like. And it is better than I could have ever put my mind to it. Much better.
I've heard this before several times, and I'm not quite there yet, but I love hearing that love that you're just pouring out about it right now. That's so amazing. Somebody posted the other day about their grand dog, And I laughed and I said, yeah, one day I think it'll be really great to have grand dogs. Don't tell my real dogs. So, okay. So Francoise, I'm going to ask you this next question, and I'm going to come around to all of you for this. Essentially, you're all teaching awareness tools. Awareness is everything. With awareness, we get choices, right? And all of the authors in this book are doing that in one way or another. But talk to me about your personal journey with awareness. How has this played out for you? How important has it been?
Well, I think it's what, excuse me, what opens up so many doors of unleashing your own potential and new possibilities, and having choices, right? Like when you become aware, you realize that there's a choice, like right there in that moment, that you can go this way or this way, that way, and that it's infinite possibilities. And I would say that my first journey around awareness was probably when I started to practice yoga very deeply. And at that point, I was in my early 30s to mid 30s, somewhere around there. And I went into it, more for physical benefits and deep stretching, whatever. But when the spiritual piece started coming into it, and I started to experience whole new levels of awareness around mind, body, spirit, that just opened up to me the understanding, the visceral experience that backed up the understanding of that we're part of something larger, that we are part of this universe, that, like we're connected or not connected, right? Like whether we practice or we choose, or that there's something supporting us, right? And so that's where I really started. And then once that opened up, then it was, more teachers, whether they were on a spiritual path in entrepreneurship or in coaching or yoga or energy healing or healing martial arts, like all of these things that I practiced along the way.
Yeah. You're making me think about the way that the whole universe, my whole life, expanded and evolved with the practice. I talk about awareness a lot. It is a practice daily, sometimes hourly, where we have to keep reminding ourselves to wake up in the moment and not react and notice our triggers and right. There's a lot to the practice, but the feeling that you helped me with just now is everything gets so much more expansive in a wow, Lulu would appreciate this, wonder-filled way when we're in that practice, right?
Yeah, totally. And you know what, there's another moment that reminds me. I went biking and camping with my sister many, many years ago, like also in my 30s. And we biked all across Northern Nevada into Yosemite. And Northern Nevada has a lot of mountain ranges that are like north-south, so you go up and down a lot. And I had just come down and paused, and there's very little traffic on this road that we were in, like an occasional truck every 5 to 10 minutes, right? So it's just open space. And I remember just like stopping and pausing and straddling my bicycle and looking behind me at what I had just biked, and the expansiveness of it all gave me the sense of like total wonder and wow, there is a bigger force out there. Like it was so present and I could feel it within me and as being a part of it. So it is wonder. It opens up your wonder and your curiosity, and I think your receptivity, right? To just have those experiences and this awareness. And then you can't unsee it. So it's with you.
You cannot unsee it. That is for sure. Another word that I adopted over the last year or two is awe, and being in awe of everything, really, the miracle of everything. Julie, talk to me about this in terms of your own personal journey with awareness.
I just had an experience this weekend that I'd like to share. And Rivka, thank you for reminding, because it was with my grandbaby. He was born in November, so he's just about 6 months old. And because of COVID, I haven't had a lot of time with him. And my older grandson had a baseball game. So my grandson was on the Bjorn in front of me and he couldn't get to sleep. So he was crying and cranky, and you know how babies get when they're overtired. And I walked around. So I did the things, I did the things. We made sure that he'd eaten and all of those things. And then I started walking, right? I had this awareness, like if I move, it's going to be better for him. And nothing was calming him down. And I decided I'm going to stand firm on the ground. I took a deep breath in and I created the space around us. And I sent love from my heart to his in a really aware and conscious way. And he fell asleep. And it was so beautiful. So taking those moments of awareness, anytime. I was at a baseball game on Sunday and, I thought, okay, this baby needs some love right now. And he had it, but he just needed to feel it some more. So having that awareness, and it also goes back to what Rivka was saying, when we raise children, it's the doing. It's the doing. We do this and we do that, and we make sure that we're doing the things that we want for our children. And being with my grandbaby this weekend and opening my heart and being aware that just needed a little love because he wasn't feeling it. So that's a little example that I got for you.
Listen, it's a badass who takes responsibility for their energy. And that's what you're talking about. And when that's a life-changing, world-changing kind of stuff, that's the kind of awareness that changes everything, right? Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love that. I had a feel when you were talking about your grandbaby there.
Thanks.
Rivka, talk to me about awareness. I know this is what you do.
Yeah, awareness is a very interesting thing. And again, I would love to put another spin on it. For me, awareness is all the little wonders that I see around me every single second of the day and paying attention to them. It's like, for me, awareness is not like thinking now I have to be aware. It's more like being in awe, what you say, being in awe of life, like getting up and knowing that, oh my God, I have to be up at 7, and 2 minutes before my alarm, I wake up naturally. That is so cool. That is like me being in charge, my awareness is getting me here. Or going to the city, having to find a parking spot, and boom, there's somebody writes out and you're going. It's because you're aware, you're in your vortex, you're in your energy, you're in your energy field, and understanding that things come to you. They are the result. Whatever is happening in your moment now is the result of what you were thinking, of what you were into before. So now is the result. It's not the cause, it's the effect. So all those little effects, being grateful for all those miracles, because we think it's a miracle to find that parking spot. Oh, miracle, we have a parking spot. No. Your awareness created it, but not now, created it before. And that is my awareness of understanding that changed my life. Understanding that my today is the effect of what I did yesterday. And if my today is not the way I would like it, then I have to think about what am I going to do differently so that tomorrow can be different. So I'm trying to be that step ahead too, by appreciating what I have today. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It's and that's the practice, because every moment is that opportunity to shift it toward positivity, love, gratitude, joy, all of the beautiful things, right? We get stuck in the reality in front of us, and it will tend to pull us down. And if you have the awareness in the moment that you can choose to be pulled down or not, then that's everything. That changes everything. I could talk about this one all day, just like Julie could talk about photographs and perspective all day. This is one of those topics for me. Rivka, stick with me for a minute on this next question that I'll ask all of you. But, you know, self-care, I think we've gone beyond the fight over the fact that it's a necessity, right? It's a hot topic. We hear about self-care everywhere these days. It's a big part of how we do what we do. We serve from an overflow because we're taking care of ourselves. And I think you all are models for that. And you're stepping up in the book in a particular way, saying, hey, I had to get through this. And then I had to start taking care of myself to get to the place that I am here now doing what I do. So talk to me about one of your very favorite ways to take care of yourself.
I think one of the most important things for me is loving myself enough to be able, like what I said, like to be able to say no, to be able to not beat myself up, because we're like, for me, and I'm not, I can be totally different for somebody else, but you know how you want to you want to eat well, you want to sleep well, and then you don't eat well, and then you beat yourself up. Why did I do that? And that's where I want to do more, or what I'm trying to be very aware of, doing more self-care. It's okay. Okay, I ate the strawberry shortcake and I enjoyed it, and that is fine. I don't need to beat myself up over that. I can enjoy that strawberry. I have a free will. I can do this, and I can love myself for doing that. And so that's the care that I want to give myself at this stage in my life, that I'm okay no matter what.
Radical self-compassion.
Yep.
Yes, yes, yes. That's a game changer as well. Oh my gosh, in so many different ways. Julie, how about you? Talk to me about one of the favorite ways you take care of yourself.
Well, I'm going to have some strawberry shortcake today for sure, because that sounds delicious. I might even have some vanilla ice cream with it. There are two things that I do, I feel like, that really balance each other out. And when I don't do them, I don't feel good. And it's movement and stillness for me. So whether it is getting on the bike or going for a walk, I live in Colorado, so I'm close to the mountains. I also practice martial arts. So anything physical, movement, and then stillness. My gratitude practice, my yoga practice is a stillness practice, breath work. So I try to have a little bit of each of those in each day. And the stillness is not in front of my computer because, there's no stillness in that.
Good point. Yes. I love the yin and yang of what you just said too. Just the balancing out those two. I love those as well, and have been moving all of my life as a peak performing athlete. So I have to get still also.
That's the challenge for me too. I'm moving, going forward. Still.
Just the breath, right?
Yes, one breath at a time.
Yes, awesome. Francoise, last but not least, talk to me about one of the favorite ways that you take care of yourself.
So there's a practice that I do every single day, no matter what, and that's to take a hot bath at night. I started about 12, 13 years ago, and I had heard a French song called M'envoyer des fleurs. I'm sending myself flowers. And it's all about your well-being, about desiring yourself, about drawing yourself a bath. That's how I started. And to speak lovingly and kindly about yourself. And so it's a song that really kind of anchored me, if you will. And I started taking hot baths every single night, and it became a ritual, really a ritual. And it sounds like it takes a lot of time, but it's just if it's a practice, it doesn't, because you just do it, just like brushing your teeth. And for me, taking hot baths relaxes my muscles. It's a signal that I'm ready for bed. So there's a preparation to complete the day for me and to prepare myself for sleep. And it's also like I'm washing off the energy of the day. So I don't go to bed with all of the energy that has piled up around me, on me, within me from my day. So I just wash it off. And so it's a physical sort of emotional, if you will. Sometimes if I'm releasing a lot of tension, like cry in the bathtub, like it's just a ritual that I do every single day. Like, and if, I mean, I do it traveling, I do it in a hotel. If there's no bathtub, I'll take a hot shower, but typically it's a hot bath with Epsom salt.
I love that. If I had a nickel
Yeah.
for as many times as the authors have included bath in this question, I'd be a millionaire. Like I think you are not alone. And we don't often give ourselves the time for a bath. But you know what else you're making me think of is, have you all read The Miracle Morning? Well, what about the miracle evening? What about a routine that sets us up for sleep, like you said? And I think it's really, really wonderful to create that ritual both in the beginning of the day and the end of the day. It's fantastic. Really fantastic. Ladies, you're amazing. Thank you again for saying yes to this project and being a part of this really empowering group of women. The chapters were just there, they were a transformation in the words. If people are paying attention, every single chapter is that, can be that. And that's what I love so much about bringing all of the different stories and tools together, because there's so many different kinds of people and not one thing works for everybody. So bringing all of your expertise into this one place so that people have a choice and can have those transformations. Thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everybody.
Thank you, Laura, for
Thank
having
you
us.
so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is so amazing. I'm not sure who has the most fun here or the most out of it. I don't know.
You know, the conversations are amazing. And I encourage people to understand that when you get yourself involved in a community that has deeper conversations, more fun conversations, fun with the very sort of serious stuff of life there, that's a yin and yang too. You know, we can talk about these things and we can evolve together and we can heal together. And I so appreciate you all for being part of that. Listeners, if you're ready to explore, please make sure that you come down into those show notes, because I have websites for these beautiful ladies down there. You can take the next step, see what they're up to in their world, and you can also join us in a global community that Lulu has created on Facebook. So for a little after hours connection with our authors, don't forget to join the Wholehearted Wonder Women 50 plus global community on Facebook. I also have that link down below for you. And if you're ready to join us on June 8th, we're going to have a book launch party on the Brave Healer Productions Facebook page. We're going to have all of our authors there sharing their wisdom. And we're going to have some pretty awesome giveaways that day too, you guys. So don't forget to join us. That's going to be at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on the 8th. And of course, if you're listening after the 8th, well, that means you need to get your butt over to Amazon and grab this book, because it will be ready for you. And lastly, today, remember, you were born so you are worthy. Your message matters. What if the thing you're still a little afraid to share is exactly what someone needs to hear to change or even save their life? It is time to be brave. See you next time, everybody.
Thank you.